Hello and welcome to another video. I hope that you are all very well. Today I'll be talking about blind spots. What is a blind spot? Why are they so dangerous? And more importantly, how can we reduce these blind spots? However, before I get started, I want to say a big thank you to all our current subscribers, because without you guys, this video today would not be possible. If you're watching this channel and you're not a subscriber, well, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button right now so that you do not miss out on our future videos. Let's get started, shall we? A blind spot is a part of the road which you cannot see from your normal driving position. This includes looking into the windscreen, the rear view mirror, and the side mirrors. These blind spots are in every single vehicle. The only way to reduce them is physically move your head or even your body sometimes to look into the areas that cannot be seen in the mirrors. A driver looking in their rear view mirror will only be able to cover this section of the road behind them. By checking their side mirrors as well, they'll cover this added part of the road. However, these areas are not covered by the mirrors. They are known as the blind spot areas. Police motorcyclists are specially trained to ride in these blind spot areas so they can catch drivers committing offences such as using a mobile phone. Checking blind spots is a vital part of safe driving. It can even save your life. You need to check blind spots before you move off from a parked position. At junctions, you also need to check your blind spots when you're changing lanes and after you've carried out an emergency stop. We're going to take a look at all four situations, starting off with the moving off from a parked position. So if I was to move off from here, me checking the center mirror and the side mirror is not enough. I need to physically look onto my side, not just by moving my head, because I really can't see due to this pillar here. I need to move my shoulders. So this shoulder here, my left shoulder, needs to come to about here. So to check my blind spot, I need to move my whole shoulder like this, and I can see what is on my side of the vehicle. This is the view of the road that I've got by looking in my side mirror. However, by moving my body and looking over my right shoulder, I can see into my blind spot. I can see that white vehicle parked on the grass. Now, if that white vehicle moves off at the same time as me, that can create a very dangerous situation. Now that we've covered moving off, let's take a look at blind spots at junctions. When emerging from junctions, we need to be aware that the pillars of the car will cause a blind spot. These blind spots can easily hide a pedestrian, a bicycle, or even a motorcyclist. Therefore, we need to be prepared to move our head to look around the pillars into the blind spot. Sometimes moving our head is not enough, and we must be prepared to move our body as well. In this example, I've looked to the left and it seems clear. I've looked to the right and I've seen this car approaching. It is now in my blind spot. Once again, I've looked to my left. All seems clear. However, as the junction is at an angle, I need to move my body. On doing so, I notice this large vehicle approaching. Had I not checked properly into my blind spot, I probably would be in hospital now. You can see how these vehicles are disappearing into the blind spot created by the pillar. So far we've covered blind spots when we're moving off and also at junctions. Next we're going to take a look at blind spots when we're changing lanes, and this includes when emerging from a dual carriage onto a dual carriageway from a slip road. One of the most important things is for changing lanes is that we avoid moving our shoulder, because if you're moving your whole shoulder like so, there's a possibility that the steering wheel can move with you as well. So we only want to move our head, chin to shoulder. So I'm going to be merging onto this dual carriageway, and all I want to be doing is taking quick glances like so, and that's it, chin to shoulder. So I'm on the dual carriageway and I'm going to change lane once again to the middle lane. So mirrored, all seems clear, chin to shoulder, and start changing lane. One of the things I'm checking is not just what's in the middle lane, but I'm also checking to make sure that nobody from the right hand lane is coming into the middle lane. So I'm going to move back into my left hand lane now. So I pass the vehicle and just make sure that it's all clear before moving back in. Now, just like we have blind spots in our car, it's important that we anticipate that other drivers also have blind spots, and we need to be aware of their blind spots. Especially the larger vehicles, as they will have larger blind spots. Some drivers, some large vehicles, drivers of large vehicles, will have a sticker on the back of their vehicle saying, if you cannot see my mirrors, then I cannot see you. And as I said, you want to avoid being in these blind spot areas. So if you're overtaking a large vehicle, or if a large vehicle is overtaking you, then you will be in their blind spot for a second or two. So you need to be aware, and if a large vehicle is overtaking you, back off, let them go, so you're out of their blind spot. And if you are overtaking a large vehicle, then make sure you don't hesitate. Get on with that overtaking, finish it as quickly as possible, because the longer you're in that large vehicle's blind spot, the more dangerous it is for you. Bear in mind, I'm just going to overtake this vehicle, so all clear, and accelerate. And once I've overtaken this vehicle, check again, all clear, and move back in. As I was saying, for larger vehicles, bear in mind that if you are in someone's blind spot, that driver may just check their mirrors and fail to check their blind spot. And if they fail to check their blind spot and they change lane, then they will crash into you. So it's very important that we avoid being in the blind spot of a large vehicle if possible. Well, this is shocking. A few minutes ago it was just pouring down with the rain, and now it's sunny. You can't even tell that it's rained. Anyway, back to the lesson, the blind spot safety checks. When we carry out an emergency stop exercise, we don't have time to check the mirrors. We just need to stop exactly where we are. And for that reason, it's vital that we are fully aware of our surroundings before we move off. Now, when we did our blind spot check for moving off, we got this shoulder here, our left shoulder, to the middle in front of us. So we went like so to check the blind spot. However, when we carry out, after the emergency stop, after we've carried out an emergency stop exercise, this shoulder check here is not enough. And the reason for that is because sometimes we stop in the middle of our lane, and other occasions we may have to stop in the middle of the road. And for that reason, we need to check both shoulders. You need to be aware of what's happening over your left and what's happening over your right, as vehicles can be overtaking you on the left or the right. I'm now going to spend a minute talking about blind spot technology. Most modern cars will have a blind spot detection system, and usually that will be an amber light fitted inside the mirrors, the side mirrors on the driver's side and the passenger side. And when a vehicle is in your blind spot, that amber light will usually flash. The technology is fantastic, as it makes us aware of our blind spots, and also it alerts us when there's a danger in our blind spot. However, this technology must not be relied upon. We must not rely on this technology, as technology can fail, and you don't want to risk your whole life based upon a technology. So use the technology as a tool, but still make that chin to shoulder check. It doesn't take long, and as I said earlier, it can save your life. If you are driving a vehicle without blind spot technology, you can get blind spot mirrors fitted on your side mirrors. These mirrors cost about £5 to £8. I've put a link in the text below to a set of blind spot mirrors from Amazon Prime for £2.99. You get 2 mirrors, one for each side of the car. Finally, I must stress that whether your vehicle is fitted with blind spot technology, or whether you've bought the additional mirrors and just stuck them on the main side mirrors, or whether your mirrors have actually a curved bit sticking on the sides, these should not be relied upon. Use them to your advantage, but confirm by physically moving your body, or if you're driving on a fast road, chin to shoulder, as that can be a lifesaver. You do not want to put your life in the hands of technology, because technology can go faulty any time. As far as the driving test is concerned, as far as the UK driving test is concerned, you are allowed blind spot mirrors in the test, and you're allowed a vehicle with blind spot technology. However, the examiner will not accept you relying on this technology. The examiner will expect you to look over your shoulders or chin to shoulder. If you're moving off in the driving test and you looked in the blind spot mirror and you thought, well, there's nothing there, and you moved off, then there's a good possibility that you will fail the driving test. So the examiner will expect you to physically look over your shoulders like so. Well, that brings the driving lesson on blind spot to a conclusion. I hope that you benefited from this video. If so, please give it a thumbs up, and do consider sharing this video with at least one other person that may benefit from it. Thank you for your time. Take care. Bye-bye.